Take me through a typical day in your life. Do you have a typical day? Probably not, I'm guessing.
Right, that's a really important question because I always...
If you were not in education and you were not the superintendent, what would your career be?
Okay, so I was a field auditor for American Express, right? So I traveled...
And welcome to Gamechangers Live from our home studio here at FIU's College of Communications, Architecture, and the Arts. My name is Sergio Tigera, and each and every episode we bring you a game changer. And this episode is a very special one because we have our superintendent for Miami-Dade County Public Schools here with us, Mr. Jose Dotres. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you. My friend, you have had a very long career in education. Let's take this back to the beginning. When you first started out and you were thinking about your career, number one, why did you choose education? And number two, did you ever think that you would become the superintendent of the fourth largest school district in the country?
So, two no's to that, right? First of all, my career journey wasn't focused on education. I actually pursued a bachelor's degree in public administration and actually worked in the private industry, in the private field. But I was always interested in children, supporting a better life for them, right? Mm-hmm. The education aspect. So then I got into teaching. I'm what they call a career changer. And we have now more and more teachers in that category. And I actually got into teaching. And so when I got into teaching, it never felt like a job. It felt like a vocation. And kids were the center of the work that I wanted to do. And absolutely, throughout my entire journey, all of the years that I've been an educator, mostly in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, I had an opportunity to work in Broward for 10 months.
Okay.
And then a similar opportunity in Collier County for 10 months as well. And the fact that I'm the superintendent now of the district where I was a student and I became a teacher is incredibly rewarding and very unexpected.
Was there something back, if you think back to when you were a student, something that perhaps you noticed, an experience, a moment in your school time as a student that you said, oh, this is something that should be changed, or we should improve on this, that then you were able to help with, either in, as a principal or as a superintendent?
Yes. So when I was in school, along with many of my friends, we were second language learners, right?
Right.
Second language learners in Miami High. Mm-hmm. And so I guess as a student in high school, I noticed sometimes the need for some of us to get a little bit more help in terms of the instruction and the supports that we were provided. And Miami High was an incredible high school. I had an incredible opportunity there. And so, interesting enough, when I get the opportunity to teach, I have the opportunity to teach students that are learning English as a second language. So my first teaching experience becomes a group of what they call ESOL students.
Right.
And for me, it's always been a particular group of students that we have had to pay attention to so that we're providing the level of instruction that they need to accelerate. Just because you're learning a second language does not mean that you lack skills. Mm-hmm. And that has always been...
And lack intelligence. Exactly. Sometimes it's interpreted that way.
And it shouldn't be, right?
Right.
A second language or not knowing a language is a barrier that can be overcome. It's just a matter of time. And so ensuring that students that are second language learners, are newcomers, are seen in that manner is incredibly important, because I'm all about making sure that teachers and adults in our school district that interact with children, that they don't ever forget the incredible potential that each and every child has. Sometimes we don't see it,
Right.
but it's in there.
Right. And I was at Easter Seals this morning, another great organization with kids with disabilities, and there's genius in there, right? But it's sometimes because of developmental disabilities, it's hard to get it out. Language is not a developmental disability, but it's still a barrier nonetheless, right?
So students with disabilities, students with unique abilities is an area or something that's very close to me, because when I became an assistant principal and then later a principal, in both of my schools, I had large clusters of students with intellectual disabilities when I was an assistant principal. And then as a principal, I actually, at Hialeah Gardens, had the school with one of the largest students with autism population. And that opened up an entire world for me of understanding disability, the uniqueness of every child, what they can evolve into, the supports that you have to provide, the struggles that some of these parents have to go through in order to get the services that these students need. So the entire world of students with disabilities is something that we've been paying a lot of attention to. Students with autism, the numbers are growing more and more. And so we've had to develop some programs for them. Even right now, 2 weeks ago, we were in a meeting trying to design programs for students with autism that are aging out of the school district. Once they turn 22, they're no longer with us. Now they become adults. And what's happening, many stay home, and we don't want them to stay home. So we're providing extended opportunities for them, like in our adult technical colleges.
Wow. Yeah, and there's a tremendous opportunity in the technical fields in a number of industries that are available there. Let me ask you, so a lot when we work with organizations, we talk about mission and vision, values. When it comes to your mission as a superintendent, what do you think your mission is as superintendent from a purpose point of view?
From a purpose point of view, and I'm going to make it very simple, but it's complex. As a superintendent, I want to instill in the organization what I call adults that will champion children, that understand that the relationships that teachers have the opportunity to build with students makes all the difference in the world. We have the organizational goals of academic performance. The well-being of our students is incredibly important, and the mental health as well.
Yeah.
But as a leader, you have to carry, I believe, a message. And to me, there's no more important message than making sure that we have adults and teachers and principals and counselors and custodians and everyone that, again, I'm saying it with a lot of belief, that every child has potential. And our goal is to champion that potential. Many times it's not seen. So sometimes you have to be a champion for the unseen in order to really believe in the possibilities that students have. We cannot see students just like on a fixed age, right?
Sure.
You just don't work with a child only because they're in third grade. You have to think of what that third grader is going to become in the future. And when you develop that mindset and you look at students as not static, but evolving and growing, and what you do in order for them to do better, it's important. That's why school culture is incredibly important. That our kids come into teaching and learning environments and schools that they feel valued and they are uplifted, and expectations are there for them to exceed, achieve, feel well, and make sure that we're attending to their mental health.
I couldn't agree more. Winston Churchill had said in a quote, when you impute a virtue on someone and let them grow into it, right? And a lot of times what we need is a champion. We need somebody to see something in us that perhaps we don't see in ourselves because of the area we grew up in and the environment that we're in and the opportunities that were afforded to us. But if you have somebody that is looking after you and championing you and sees the potential, it makes all the difference in the world, right? And so the world is changing rapidly. They're, like you said, they're learning a lot in terms of education, social skills, a number of things. But if you could boil it down and you say, if I can only give one thing to every student that goes K through 12 that comes out of here, what would the most important thing be in terms of a character trait? What do you think that would be that's going to serve them well into this new world that we're going into?
Listen, so it's interesting that you asked me that, because I'm in the season of graduation, and I am now currently commencement season for graduations, high school, and I have to write my graduation speech, right? Because hopefully this year I'll do like 15 graduation ceremonies, and I always have to instill in students what you're saying, character traits. And to me, there's no stronger character trait than having the ability or making sure that you as an individual are able to foster trust. Okay? When you as an individual are able to foster trust and folks trust you, that is an incredible currency that you carry, and it'll help you. So building a character of integrity, but building a character that people say, I can trust this young man, I can trust this young lady. That is hugely important as part of the character. And the way you build trust is you have to be accessible, you have to connect with folks, and you have to keep your word when you promise or you say something. So to me, sometimes, I work with leaders all the time, and before we hire a principal, I give them a 3-minute conversation about, you need to build a trust piggy bank as you enter the principalship. Because when you build trust, your teachers will follow you.
Sure.
When you build trust, your parents will be behind you. And when you build trust, students will believe in you. And sometimes as a leader or as an individual, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to want to take risks and do something bold. Well, you may need to count on that trust, right?
Yeah.
That currency, and that will help you because people will follow individuals that they can trust or they feel they can trust.
Yeah. That's a great point, and that serves you in business and education and anything.
That's right.
But what also takes you 15, 20 years, you could lose it very quickly as well.
Absolutely.
And so ethically,
absolutely,
those borders need to be, carefully observed. So you were talking about commencement.
Yes.
Take me through a typical day in your life. Do you have a typical day? Probably not, I'm guessing.
I can tell you what I would like for my typical day to be like,
right.
But no. Right now, in the landscape of education, every day is different, and that doesn't mean it's bad. They're good days, but every day is different, right? I try to structure my days as much as I can because I'm addressing a multitude of issues, but there is no pattern. There is no pattern. The phone calls are about different topics. The needs are broad,
sure.
From students to families to teachers to leaders to employees to the community. So every day something different happens, but there is one constant that I try to do. And every Thursday, I at least try to make sure that Thursdays are my school visit days. So Thursday is the one day of the week that I think I have the most control of. And trust me when I tell you that it's a fight, because although I have schools that I want to visit, I have people that want to see me.
Sure.
And I have folks, my own team, that want to schedule meetings. And I've had to be really firm in saying, no.
Thursdays are off
My
limit.
priority for Thursdays are school visits. So that is the one thing that is really important, because school visits are it. When, to me, there's nothing more important for me to walk a school individually with a principal and understand what the challenges are, what they need, what the students
you're
are experiencing.
boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground,
the
understanding, what's happening in schools.
Yeah. So when you started, fourth largest school district in the country. Oh, third.
Third.
Let's go. All right. So third largest. We have what, over 300,000 students, over 40,000 employees. What has been the most challenging aspect of that as you went into that role?
When I entered this role, I think one of the most challenging, or probably the most unexpected part of the role was, as I entered in February of 2022, the political landscape was changing very, very rapidly. And although politics has always existed, because it's a reality of what we do in education, I was not expecting the topics or the issues that surged as a result of the political landscape.
Sure.
That to me was incredibly surprising. And I had to make sure that I had to be really careful that I would remain focused on my mission, which is supporting school leaders, supporting teachers, so that our students would get the best education and support possible.
Yeah.
And try to deviate or not get involved with the narratives that were occurring around many communities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, post-COVID, we know that there were a number of issues that students have experienced. You know, the COVID generation. We're seeing anxiety quite high in a lot of young folks. What can be done aside from hiring more counselors? What else can be done to help, solve some of these issues or curb these issues?
Right. That's a really important question, because I always we've been working a lot on the mental health side of supports for students, right? And we have students for a limited number of hours. Mm-hmm. And to your point, how many more counselors can we add based on the budget? How many mental health specialists can we add? So I can tell you that I'm really proud to share with you, and this is something that we need to amplify even more in the community. We have actually, and so in order to help students with anxiety, mental health, 2 weeks ago we had a live stream on the topic of mental health to support and help parents.
Right.
So I always worry about, okay, what happens when students are not in session? Are there additional supports that we can provide parents? So we implemented telehealth across the entire school district, free to all the students and all the parents. So they have these telehealth services in school, but then from 5 to 7 every day, and then free the entire summer, because the summer worries me.
Right.
The summers when we get disconnected. Mm-hmm. And in telehealth, it includes physical and mental health supports as well.
Wow.
So our school district is offering now, and I'm incredibly proud
tremendous.
of our partnership, because again, it's available to the parents in moments where they don't have the school resource connection.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's critical, especially in the summertime where they're disconnected. They're off doing different things. There's summer
slide,
summer slide, and that's not only from the academic side, but also the mental side, right? Because you're not in that consistent, structured environment. You're in a different place. So let's switch gears a little bit here. From a teacher perspective, obviously the teachers are the major champions there. Miami is becoming incredibly expensive. What is, I know that this is near and dear to your heart from an affordability standpoint, right? And with teacher salaries, what can be done?
Right. So teacher salaries are critical, right? In order for us to maintain the quality of teachers that we need in our community. There is, thanks to the citizens, right, and to the residents of Miami, we're fortunate that we've been able to sustain a referendum that addresses specifically the salaries of teachers and the salaries of our school police officers. And as a result of that, we've been able to provide, I believe, strong competitive salaries. We're right now a little bit above the national average for salaries. And that referendum has really been able to increase the level of salary and compensation that we're providing for teachers. The state is doing a good thing also. Now the state is also providing direct increases to teachers, which before did not happen. They're creating a separate bucket. So in addition to the additional funding that comes from the state specifically for teacher increases, Miami is very fortunate that we have a source of local funding that also increases teacher salary. And when I say increases, I'm talking about sometimes even more than 15% or 20% of what the average salary would have been without these funds. So very thankful to the community that we've been able to get their support for 2 times now.
That's fantastic. So switching gears now again, let's talk a little bit about you. If you were not in education and you were not the superintendent, what would your career be?
I can almost guarantee you that probably I would be somewhere in the training field, either leaders or business people. I was a field auditor for American Express, right? So I traveled. I traveled all of South and Central America auditing banks, right? But in the company, they noticed, for whatever reason, that training was easy for me. So they shifted me from the auditing world into training personnel, and I enjoyed it. So I guess I went from training adults to training or developing and teaching kids. So I think right now I would be somewhere probably developing programs in a business setting, or maybe developing leaders somewhere in the training development area, because in real essence, in the school district, the role that I enjoyed the most was when I was the assistant superintendent of the Office of Professional Development. Always very special. So developing, teaching, training, it always tends to be an area that I have been interested in.
Interesting. And what are some little known hobbies that you might have that you like to spend your free time, your little free time doing?
Planning vacations. In my home, I'm the one that...
Not taking the vacation, but planning the vacation.
I take the
vacation too.
But I enjoy, maybe obsessively. My wife tells me sometimes, she says, "You're not even enjoying this." No, I enjoy it. I enjoy planning every single step of the vacation, of where we're going to go, from where we're going to have dinner to the activity. So, and I spend a lot of time doing that, because typically we'll take a nice vacation for a year, during a year, and the planning is extensive, especially the way I like to do it. And so
every minute is accounted for.
Everything works out well, hopefully. Yeah. And so that is something that I really enjoy.
That's interesting. So my family and I were going to go on a basically like a 10-day RV trip to all the national parks. And I've never been in an RV. I've never driven an RV, and I've been planning all the different stops and the hookups and everything else. So
that is exactly
hoping to God that everything turns out right.
It will.
Oh my gosh. So this is something that I ask all my guests, was there a game-changing moment in your life that really kind of changed the trajectory of your life, or it was just a really standout moment for you?
Well, it's going to come down to people. Going to come down to people. I can tell you that I think in my life, or in my career, I've had these pivotal moments where it's been individuals, and I learned this from a principal that I had when I was a teacher, Pat Parham. And she always said this: people will know of you before they get to see you and meet you in person. And what does that mean? That in my professional career, the opportunities that I've had, they've come to me. I've hadn't really had to pursue them. And that is because I've had incredible mentors, individuals that I worked with that knew of my work and knew of who I was. They spoke to others about me, and I've been very fortunate that I've been able to serve in so many different roles. So to me, what has made a difference are the mentors that I've had. A Marcus Moran, I was a region superintendent. A Robert Kalinsky, he was the principal that first hired me as a teacher and saw the potential in me of becoming an administrator of a school. I never thought about that. And then my high school teacher in Miami High, Mrs. Dotres, that actually told me, you have a lot of potential and you just don't know it. So it's always about the people in your life that I think change the trajectory or the journey that you're on. And those are 3 individuals that I feel have been game changers for me.
Right.
Game changers for me.
So what's the next 5 years at MDCPS look like? We fast forward 5 years from now, it's 2030. What's your vision? What do you see us?
So my vision is my vision is, and we're working on it now, and it will take maybe 3, hopefully no more than 3 years, but maybe 3 years at least, is creating or having folks understand that learning does not occur only in school, that we are all part of a learning ecosystem. And we're all responsible for the experiences of the students in this ecosystem. I want to work very closely with trying for students that they know that their schoolwork or their experiences in school is also connected to some industry connections that we need to do for them. So when we now see industry as partners, I want to change that narrative and have industry partners see themselves as co-educators.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The county. Some of our students go through internships, apprenticeships. We want to do more and more of that.
Yeah.
And it's
experiential learning.
Experiential. It's basically creating an environment in our community where we have to provide real life experiences for students because we co-educate them. We don't only educate them in school. And now with AI that has so much potential, students are learning 24/7.
Yeah.
Now what the real experience is, the interconnected relationships and experiences that they have, is what we're working towards. Increasing the number of students that graduate from high school with internships and real connections to local industry, employers, talented people. Miami is an incredible community with amazing organizations. We need to have our students connected with them. So hopefully they stay here and their talent remains in our community. So I guess what I'm telling you is what I envision in the next 3 to 5 years is more of interconnected learning, right? Industry connected learning, an approach that brings both schoolwork and industry and community opportunities for all of our students.
Love it, my friend. Yeah, you're our game changer. I'm very proud to be a public school student myself, all the way up through college. Very excited about what we're doing here in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So happy that you're leading it, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
If you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with somebody who needs to hear it, because you can be the game changer in their life.